Hello, I'm Selin Karakanam. I'm a marriage and relationship therapist, a life coach, and the author of the book you read. I don't know what else to say. You know my number, 0533213695733213. Wait, it has been 9 years. If you want to go directly to YouTube and call me, it will be under the name The Art of Marriage with Selin Karakanem, because from the very beginning, for 15 years, I've been running programs called The Art of Marriage in Turkey. Of course, it wasn't when I was working with others, I was in their programs. But during the 8 years I worked on my own program, it was always like this. The kids were shouting behind me. The Art of Marriage? Look, Mom, the Art of Marriage is going on. Yes, we are ready. I hope you have broken your fast this evening, enjoyed your tea, and are relaxing. I'm doing it today too. I don't know. Should we do it on Wednesday nights or not? Again, it will definitely be on Saturday and Sunday, of course, between 3 and 5. But since we added Wednesday, it means it will continue, as long as we haven't announced otherwise. Yes, I'm waiting for your questions. Yes. We haven't been able to be together for 10 years. We're not going to the doctor either. Help me. Now I'm going to try to understand why the man isn't together with you, or why you're not together. Now, of course, I'm going to talk about the general situation. If a husband and wife do not desire each other, of course, they cannot do anything. But if there is desire, a person will take advantage of every opportunity that comes his way, wherever he is. Either he is being cold and not showing his desire to be with you, or he doesn't find you attractive. Or maybe there's someone else in his life. 10 years is a very long time. It feels to me like there might be some physiological issues as well. Finding and addressing this physiological issue. I mean, have you gone to the doctor? That physiological aspect will become quite clear. But for some reason, people don't desire to commit massacres, saying, oh no, oh no, oh no. It's like something will happen if you go to the doctor. However, the doctor can find every kind of it. He will see why it happened, why it's happening, all of it, and so on and so forth. I mean, it can't work like this from a distance. Either she doesn't love you, or neither of you love each other. But since a woman asked, not a man, then she must be his wife. Either he doesn't love you, or he doesn't find you attractive. Either there's someone else in his life, or there's a physiological issue that a medical specialist urologist would identify, meaning he has some biological problem, or maybe some of your behaviors, the way you talk, or I don't know. Perhaps your attitude at that time could be causing a barrier to being together, from the scent to the light. There are so many reasons, but first, it needs to be understood whether this is truly a dysfunction. Then, if you come to marriage therapy, I can clearly and distinctly tell you what it is within 10-15 minutes. But from a distance, I'm just giving you the alternatives. Someone is saying, I can't feel attracted to my husband because he has made some ridiculous requests. Why should I do? He's asking. But I also say that it's important to clearly and distinctly know what these ridiculous things are. If he wants an anal relationship, we're absolutely right. Or if you don't love him and he wants oral sex, you're right about that too. But in normal behavior, especially if there is love, affection, desire as a contribution benefit, you are deprived of these. That is something very beautiful. What are the ridiculous things that seem absurd to you? If you want, we can have a marriage therapy session. So come to me. Let's talk about it here. If you want, because I get a lot of questions about this, a lot. Since marriage is 80% about sexuality, I get a lot of questions related to this. If you ask this, you can handle it this way. We want a lot of kids. But because I'm so focused on this child, we've been getting into arguments for the past 2 months. I've started to lose interest in sex for the past 2 months. I see. It's a lot. The more you fixate on something, the less likely it is to happen. She wonders, I didn't get my period. Am I pregnant? Why isn't it happening? And the more she says this, the less likely it is to happen. This is a psychological thing. I'm saying this. You shouldn't insist on having kids all the time. No, we'll let it go. If there's nothing wrong with your tubes, and you're being intimate with your partner at certain times with your doctor's help, then there's really no reason for it not to happen. Why are you fixating on it? Leave it to normal, leave it to enjoy. When you treat it like a duty, it really won't happen. That's why I recommend it. I'm saying this because she asked, is there something wrong with me? What should I do? You can consider getting psychotherapy to relax. You can come together. Or if you go to your doctor, you can ask why. He will explain to you why it isn't happening. But I think it's wrong to say that you won't do something just because you're losing interest. A woman has been living with her partner for 5 years, and according to her, there hasn't been any intimacy for those 5 years. They've been living together like siblings in the same house for 5 years. Does he not love me? Does it really take this long for someone to respect me? This has nothing to do with respect. Well, the poor guy is in a situation where he can't do this. So how did you accept that? I was really surprised by it. I'm interested in someone else. So even if he shows interest, is it normal for us to understand each other or not? The guy's in the same house and you're responsible for cleaning. You're just a friend by his side. There's no child, no togetherness, nothing. So it's not about the sky. Woman is troubled. She says, can there be this much respect? This has nothing to do with respect, my child. So this man's lack of desire, or his inability to do it, or that he has some kind of issue, is evident. He's also asking if he should get married. Of course, I'm going to say no. So don't waste your time. Even with such a person. You've wasted 5 whole years. What a shame. Yes, they must be splitting the rent. Someone named Seelen Hanum commented, unfortunately, I cannot read you due to the impossibilities here. Honestly, a person wouldn't go through so much for their life, even for rent. Then we shouldn't call each other lovers. We should just say his name. We should say that we rented a place together and are sharing it. It could be any 2 girlfriends. We should say that we rented a place together and are sharing it. It could be any 2 girlfriends. It could also be 2 male friends. Why has a woman who thinks she's in a relationship with a guy never experienced intimacy with him? Even once. This is not going to work. I think this situation is just fine. I can smell, sense here that I don't like. Yes. My boyfriend wants to have sex, but I don't accept it without being engaged. How can I convince him to give up? I think you're doing just fine. Yes. Actually, I'm going to say this before getting married. Don't find too many things like this. How should I put it? Don't be so closed off or backward. But it's not right. In what way is it not right? If love exists, there are limits, like physical affection. Going further can harm you. Will they marry you? Engagement isn't enough. But taking it all the way to the end will ultimately be harmful to you as a young lady, because that person you're with Are they going to marry you? Just being engaged isn't enough. Is he going to marry? Not. Then it's like picking the stones out of the rice. So people are definitely getting hurt more. But on the other hand, people can think like this. I'm going into this agreement, this marriage, with my eyes closed. When the time comes, if I can't agree with him, or if there's a big problem regarding sexuality between us, he says, let me go in with my eyes closed without seeing these things. So that's it again. So they say, if you don't do it, then if you do it, it is not clear whether she will get married this time or not. If this guy becomes your husband, then there's no problem. But if he doesn't and breaks up and someone else comes along, what does that mean? That's what the kids are asking. Believe me, I know young men who have studied in Europe and America who come to me. He's questioning the woman, asking why and for what reason. Who did you do it with? Where did you do it? When did you do it? Then just wait and see. They've been married for 25 years. The guy is telling me, Miss Selin, she came to the hotel with me when we were just starting to date. How can I trust him? So he's saying that, look at this. He's saying this to his wife. So don't do it for that reason. I think you should insist on saying no. When he marries, we'll say whatever happens. Married 9 years, but in separate rooms for 6. They've been married for 6 years, but they've been sleeping in separate rooms. Her husband comes to her whenever he feels like it. He's asking what to do. Honestly, my dear, this is quite an interesting situation. They've already put the work into it, two friends. Every now and then, whenever the young man feels like it, he goes to his wife. He says, okay, he goes back to his room. Even the rooms are separate. It's not just that everything is separate. I couldn't understand the meaning and nature of such a marriage. I'll ask once then, why are we sleeping separately? What's the reason? What happened? Is there an incident between us? If there's an issue, it needs to be resolved as soon as possible by going to marriage therapy. If there's nothing like that and everything seems fine, then why doesn't the guy want to sleep with you? Is there snoring? Are there any smells? Is he feeling uncomfortable? Or have you gotten used to sleeping with the child or something? The mother is sleeping with the child, and the father is in another room. None of these things please me. These are not normal behaviors. Husband and wife are together. If there's snoring, you're not the first to snore in the world, and you won't be the last. What will be done? We're going to the doctor. Are you coming asleep, sister? Or why are you snoring? Is there a bone in your nose? You will show these. Even people can snore from being overweight. After these issues are resolved, I mean, just being in separate rooms doesn't sit well with me. But if he still comes to you, it shows this. So it means you are still doing things. You still love each other. Maybe in the way you sleep. One of you is sleeping very wildly, or one of you wants cold air while the other wants warm air. There is a disagreement, but a middle ground must be found. I'm saying this firmly. This is not how a marriage works. Yes, it is about a man who thinks only of himself, who does not care about his wife's arrival. He says, we've been married for 3 years, and I don't even know how to come home. He says, what can I do? Now, he has said a few times here, why don't you think of me? I want to be happy too. Bring me along. But the guy doesn't even care about that. He's just thinking about self. It's extremely typical egoism. This won't work like that. The relationship definitely won't end, well, before the woman arrives. In fact, it makes the woman angry. And on top of that, she uses every opportunity she gets the next day to deal with it. Similarly, if a woman doesn't want to come, the husband might act very grumpily the next day. So what I'm trying to say is, what are you going to do about it? You absolutely need to sort this out. If it doesn't get resolved, there are many women like her throughout their lives. In rural areas, there are people who never think about things like Let me bring my wife. Let me make her happy. Let it be like this or that. They don't think about such things at all. But I think it's time to start thinking both partners need to be happy and content. Yes, sometimes he comes every other day. Sometimes he doesn't come at all. Is that what you said? Or does he come all the time? Sometimes he's very eager, sometimes he's very cold. What can I do? So you need to look at the times when he's cold. Did you hurt each other a bit earlier? Did you make a with the tool? So if there's a problem somewhere, the woman or the man might not be as warm and loving. So what are we going to do? It will go very well before being together. So everything is going badly. There's shouting and yelling. After that, come on, let's do it together. No way. This is a women-only concern. Both genders feel this. Lacking a bond feels primal. No, both women and men feel the same way. It should be filled with love, nice conversations, flirtations, and gestures. Saying my dear, my life, my love can happen anywhere. In bed, outside, or discreetly. These things always happen. It should be filled with love. There should be nice conversations. There should be flirtations and gestures, or I don't know, after exchanging love-filled glances like my dear, my life, my love, being together can happen anywhere. It can be in bed, it can be outside, or in a place where the child won't see. These things always happen, but don't expect them to only happen in the bedroom. These things always happen, but I mean, don't expect that these things will only happen in the bedroom. I would say pay attention to your comfort. Ask him about why he is sometimes good and sometimes bad. Why are you so cold today? Or why aren't you coming to me at all these days? Why aren't we doing anything? You might ask if something is wrong. Sometimes she's asked things like, "It's beautiful, my dear. Sometimes you're wonderful. Sometimes you're so cold. Why do you do this?" If he's not answering the question or if he's giving his own answer, these kinds of problems are handled by marriage therapists, kids. That's how marriage therapy came about, to address all sorts of problems in marriages, relationships, and engagements. So, while I was working with a psychiatrist in America, they discovered this, it came up. So marriage therapy came about. Of course, I received special training for this. Whatever ruins or annoys a marriage, all the problems in between are handled by a marriage therapist. On top of that, I'm also a family therapist because I studied pedagogy, so I also look into issues related to children, including the training I received in life coaching. Yes. I don't like my boyfriend. I guess he's getting annoyed by that. But I'm scared of breaking up because I've had some minor sexual experiences with him. Well, if there's a problem with someone else, what did he mean by that? Will he say it? Or, as I mentioned, has he taken it to such advanced levels that the new person will ask him about all this? He can't seem to finish that thought. I mean, the sake of a crescent moon, oh Lord, what sunsets are happening? Come on, you didn't think about these things while doing them. What will the new person say at this point? I thought I loved him. We were getting married. We thought we were going to get married. It happened like this, but that was before Christ, after Christ.
So you say, well, to avoid causing problems with these...
It's not even certain that he will marry you, a man don't love or want. He hasn't even made an offer, so take care of yourself. If you want, break up, do whatever you want if that's what you want. Yes. I'm a very well-groomed woman. My husband doesn't want me to take care of myself. There hasn't been any sex for 3 years. What am I supposed to do? Someone is asking that. First of all, kids, I find it hard to understand these things. What kind of marriage is this? Without sex for 3 years. I don't know, I forgot. Does he have kids? What was it like before? How years they've been married? I don't really know about them, but what actually happened? That he got up and stayed away from you for 3 years? Plus, you're a well-groomed woman? So why is he upset with you? I find it hard to understand this. I mean, everyone wants a well-groomed woman in front of them, so what does that even mean? I can't grasp it. First of all, why is there no sex? And about being well-groomed. I mean, listen to my videos or whatever. I always say what I told you about my book. I have a famous book. I mean, I've written a bunch of books, 5 in total, but this is the latest one. Look at the book. When you have him read this book, I'm talking about her husband. He understands what everything means. And on top of that, he thanks his wife. Despite staying away from both taking care of myself and my appearance for so long, poor woman is still married to me. 80% of marriage is sex. Make sure that it doesn't get forgotten. Why does a man who constantly says he is tired reject me? You'll have to accept that when he says, I'm tired, I want to sleep, I don't feel like it. It means there's someone in his life, or if he's always tired, well, all of that is just nonsense. If a man is looking at sex from a distance, I always say, kids, either he has someone in his life, he doesn't love you, or the guy is sick. Choose whichever one you like. If a man is looking at sex from a distance, kids, he has someone, doesn't love you, or is sick. If he's uncomfortable, many men have problems. Which one do you prefer? If one of them is uncomfortable, there are men who have a lot of problems. If he has such a problem, he should first go to a urologist. The urologist, I always say, the urologist will take a look at him. No, my friend, if you say you're like a lion and everything is normal, then you'll come to me for marriage therapy and there we'll see what your friend's problem is. Is it you who is his problem? Is there something he doesn't like about you? Is there physical compatibility between you two? What is it? Isn't it? After you learn these, you will see. You'll come to me asking what we can do about it. When you come to me and I press him on it, maybe he'll say to me that he doesn't like his body. Maybe he'll tell me he's too fat. I don't want him. Or, I don't know, he can say anything. As you keep talking, you'll understand that. We'll find a middle ground in this matter. If there's no visible, tangible problem, it can be fixed. But I don't like his body shape. We can even fix being overweight. You can lose weight. So does there have to be something wrong? But I wanted a woman who looks like whatever. She doesn't look like that artist. If he says he doesn't want such a woman and she doesn't come to him, there's nothing to do. But if there's something you can do within your means, I'm here to help. That's where we find a middle ground. So just look at whether there's love between you two or not. Her husband is watching porn videos in the bathroom and doesn't even look at his wife. He keeps searching and eventually finds the bathroom. This is the first time I'm hearing this. There are a lot of guys who bring themselves to the bathroom, almost 80%. But he says he's watching porn in the bathroom and not looking at his wife's face. Honestly, shows that there's nothing good about it. There's a dysfunction in this marriage. While his wife is standing there like a lioness, a solid woman standing there, you go and look at the bathrooms, enjoying yourself like a lord. He's watching porn. So do couples watch porn together. They would be together. Well, porn shouldn't be watched. If a man is watching porn alone, you should know that he has a problem with your sexuality. He might not like you. Might not want you. He might love someone else. If you pay attention, I keep saying this. If someone is imagining another person or someone else while being with you, that's really bad. So something is off somewhere. What am I saying? Marriage therapy? This is a must. I can completely resolve all kinds of sexual problems between couples and lovers. There's nothing here that can't be resolved, but we can't recreate a person from scratch, can we, kids? So you're saying you want her to have a butt like Kim Kardashian's. Your wife is slim like a stick, but in my opinion, she has a really cute body. Just because you don't like her, you shouldn't go and make her get butt implants. Talk about love. If there's love, a person doesn't see anything. If he sees it from the beginning. He doesn't get into the subject. How right is it to have sex in the dark? I don't think this has anything to do with darkness or light, but of course, some people prefer to be in the dark. If you ask why, it's either because they don't want to show their body or they don't go to observe the events. Within the mandatory laws of sexuality, like that, that's why it's possible to be together in the dark, thinking of each other, feeling and sensing. But as I said, it doesn't have to be. Must. You can do it during the day too. Then it's not dark. You need to be ready for anything. When it comes to pregnancy and sexuality, a friend, woman, says that there's no time left for sexuality when you're focused on pregnancy and children. How can we go back to the old days when a husband and wife are around each other? There is no need for them to turn back. If there's love, if there's desire, if there's touch, then you know they get excited being next to each other. And there can be physical compatibility too. Of course, you shouldn't do it in front of the kids, but you can say, all right, everyone, let's go do it, or the kids will be asleep now. It's like saying, all right, we're tired, we're heading out. You can retreat to your room. You are safe with me. As far as I understand, this lady is quite young. The kids are small too. You definitely need to put them to bed after a certain hour because it's bedtime. You also won't be in a space where they can enter. You can watch a porn movie together while lying side by side, maybe with the door closed, or if the TV is in the living room, considering that the kids might come in. There's no need to go back. It's something that comes from the heart, you know? Let's not mix apples and oranges with kids, please. Yes. She has a spouse working away from home. What should we do to keep our relationship from getting cold? Honestly, you're getting me used to talking openly and frankly. Sister, just like we meet like this, you will meet with your husband too. You will both be alone. You can do whatever you want. You can send each other love, affection, all those mutual things, because the world is at our fingertips. You open that thing, what's it called, that shows it in a bigger area. It's not small like this. I mean, there's a term for it, but I forgot what it is. You see Skype in a much bigger way. You see each other in an even bigger way. What else? What will happen? Anything can be done. Love and affection, you whisper in each other's ears every night, but you just can't touch. That's all. Yes. Well, of course, she says. Her husband has been very cold to her for the past 6 months. He doesn't do anything with me. I just found out that there's someone in his life and he's cheating on me with her. I always say, if a man doesn't touch his wife, the woman he loves and is attracted to, if he separates himself from her, if she comes to him and wants to hug and kiss him, but he pulls away or gets up for some reason, if he doesn't show any interest in her in any way, and when she wants to talk, he either watches TV or buries himself in his phone, all of these indicate that there's a problem between us. At least I have a problem. What does that mean? Of course, it also means that there's likely someone else in his life. I'm saying this very clearly and explicitly. In such situations, don't delay. Things you've been waiting for 6 months, and the guy isn't reaching out to you. He's not coming. If he doesn't show you interest, doesn't show affection, doesn't show love, doesn't touch you, if he doesn't give you a kiss when he leaves or a hug when he comes back, if he doesn't take every opportunity to embrace you, like high school lovers, behind doors, or if he doesn't cling to you while you're cooking, then you should understand that there's an issue in this marriage. If he's willing to come to marriage therapy for this, especially if he's coming to me, I can understand in about 15 or maybe 20 minutes. I'll go in from here and read it from behind. There has never been a moment when I didn't see the lie. It's that simple for me. I read it like a book. So take care of your comfort, but when you delay things, events get a bit difficult. Yes, a woman is asking, I was pregnant, my desire is gone, my sexual desire. I gave birth, and it got even worse. Could it be that I have a hormonal issue? Of course there is. I mean, pregnancy doesn't really hinder sexuality, you know. Even if you're going to give birth the next day, you can do it perfectly without harming the baby after you want it. But after giving birth, of course, it's a bit tough. But this problem happens more with husbands because there is milk in the breasts. I don't know, the body isn't as beautiful as it used to be. It will pass with time. Because of these things, some men might pull back a bit. But let me say this, for a person who loves, there's no need to reach a final point. You kiss, you hug, you say, my dear, my life. You watch a movie cuddled up, even if you don't do anything, you can dance hand in hand, cheek to cheek, or just hold hands. So kids, there's no end to flirting. If this lady says that she has something, whether hormonal or not, I say go check it out. You should definitely and immediately see a female doctor. The female doctor will give you information about this. Everything is fine, my friend. If you think there's a problem in your own mind, you can try marriage therapy. At least I can understand why you don't want your husband. Once a person is pregnant, they are very sensitive to smells. So, while normally no one notices a man's scent, you can even smell the scent of the wood, your husband's scent, and the scent of the bed. Well, the pregnancy is over. After that, is it the presence of the child that bothers you? I don't know. Are you unable to sleep at night? Is the tiredness bothering you? Did you suddenly get into some kind of psychological state, like postpartum psychology? First of all, you will see a gynecologist for all of this. If that doesn't work, you'll come in and we'll have a chance to really get to know you psychologically. This is even better. Ha 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 ha. I want to satisfy my husband, but I just don't feel like it. It's nice to want to satisfy him. What are we going to do if you just don't feel like it? What will he do? If he's hungry, go ahead. Let me tell you, I let it go, and when you say God will take care of it, the place is filled with a bunch of beautiful wolves. They are just roaming around like germs. Neither they expect you to satisfy him, nor this, that. But if you are truly caring, affectionate, loving towards your husband, you know if you hug him, touch him, if you are involved with him, if you speak nicely, all of these things. Make a man appreciate having a wife who behaves so beautifully. If he loves you, I take the word satisfy in a spiritual sense, so he won't go to someone else. And of course, I mean in a sexual sense as well. So if you were to decide to separate today, your husband might come and say you didn't fulfill your duties as a wife, and he would divorce you. That's why you have to do everything. As for not feeling like it, you'll have to accept it like this. I do. So I accept that you don't love me. So if you're getting annoyed by everything about him, or if you've been disgusted by some of his daytime behaviors, you can't do it. Don't be too hard on yourself either. Maybe the guy won't even be there for you. And don't be too hard on yourself. Maybe the guy won't even be there for you. He might be walking around in his underwear, passing gas next to you, blowing his nose. I mean, if he's doing some ugly things, or if he comes to you looking all messy. then you might not feel like it. To sort all of this out, you should come to marriage therapy. Marriage therapy, I mean. I'm saying it openly. I'm talking to each of you individually. Why am I doing 4 sessions? So, 1 session with you, 1 session with your partner, and in the 4th session, I explain the reasons, the whys, hows, everything. When some people have psychological issues, I also provide them with living conditions, but those are the things that come after that. Yes, gentleman is asking? My partner is constantly unwilling. What should I do to fix that? What I said for the lady, I will now say for the gentleman. If you don't do certain things that you certainly wouldn't even do when you're absolutely alone, if you don't make him feel disgusted in any way, if you don't try to engage in sexual acts that he doesn't want at all, like oral sex, or if you are not bringing him to the positions he likes, then your wife might not want you. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a must. You will look at it. If none of that is the case and everything is perfect, you've been together after a wonderfully romantic, love-filled night, and she still seems unwilling. It means she doesn't love you. It means she is disgusted by you. It means she doesn't want you. It means, she is disgusted by you. It means she doesn't want you. I'm saying all of these as individual things. I don't know which one it will be. Yes. This is even better. A young lady says, Sister Selin, I've been dating someone for 2 months now. Look, the comfort in the man. If you are intimate with me, then we can be together. I'll call you. Otherwise, don't expect me to call. Goodbye. I'm saying it so clearly and distinctly. May God be pleased with you. You showed yourself before marriage. So what you want is someone to have a relationship with. The rest is zero. I mean, look at that ease. If you do it this way, I'll come. If you don't, I won't. Goodbye. If you want me for this, okay. There's no such thing as that in a relationship. Sexuality. If everything is going well, if it's going super beautifully, there's attraction, love, affection, understanding, chivalry, charm, everything is there. And sexuality can also be added as a crown, if possible. Don't do it until the end. If you are a Turkish citizen, that's what I have to say too. Yes. Ahahaha. Are you joking or is this really happening? Every night I'm pretending to sleep. My husband says he shouldn't have sex with me. So why did you get married, my friend? Why would a man spend his life with you without sex? You're forcing him to go find someone wherever he wants. Why marry without love? Love brings desire. If there's attraction and love, and if you're a normal woman, there can't be such a thing as not desiring sexuality. The moment you see him, the moment you touch him, even when he holds your hand, a person desires. Pretending to sleep means that either he's doing things you don't like, or he's not doing what you want. And that's why you can't engage. There's a problem with marriage therapy. I wonder what kind of disciplinary action he's giving. The lady's husband says, don't try to make me do things by using your sexuality, or don't punish me. Recently, a question like that came up. Some women are perhaps punishing him by not being with him as they get angry. He says, no, I won't do it. I don't want you. You did this, you did that. Or some women can make a nice face, grin, come up to you, and make you do what they want. And this has been the case since the beginning of the world. So when there's love and affection in between, and your heart races even when you see each other, it's wonderful. Aside from that, but then we're doing what those women who have turned sexuality into a profession do. They also express their desires, asking for money, giving money, and saying things like, get me this now, do that for me now. Yes, the lady is asking if there's something abnormal about me, or if it's my husband who has the issue. My husband has made me lose interest in sex every single day. You're absolutely right, my child. Everything has its limits. Your spouse may desire a lot, and I always say don't say no to your husband. So, without being too passive, expect him to finish in 5 minutes, but not while chewing gum and thinking about what to cook tomorrow. You shouldn't go overboard with it. What will you do? You will have fulfilled one of his desires. What will you do? You will have fulfilled one of his desires. If he wants sex every single night and you're tired of it, you should tell him nicely, I don't love you as much as you love me. I love you, but I don't love sex as much as you do. If she says, I would be happier if it were 4 times a week instead of every day, or maybe 3 times, would the man get angry, feel upset, or look for it elsewhere? Believe me, it's hard, but wanting it every day shows a lot of selfishness. The poor woman, is she tired? Every minute, stressed, angry, or sick? Without thinking about these things constantly, we started at 9:30. Our time is up. Our time is up. We have 5 minutes. We started at 9:30. It's 10:30.